Hi guys, I thought I would try something new this time. I'm trying very hard not to talk softly because this piano music makes me feel very calm, but I thought I would do a chatty pack with me. I don't think I've ever done this before. I say I don't think because I can't actually remember. I know you guys said that you don't mind the packing clips when I was worried that they would be too boring and repetitive, and I'm really glad that you don't mind them, but a part of me still, I think, finds them really tedious to edit because it really is the same thing over and over again. And I really struggled with editing this video. The first half of it, I've got to say, was an absolute breeze. It was one of the easiest videos that I've edited, and then I don't know why. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's just today. The second half was absolutely painful. And I think that's important to mention because even just a 10-minute studio vlog, for example, can take many, many hours, and it's not always a pleasant process, but it's always very rewarding for me. And I'm just so grateful that you guys enjoy watching them. So I guess I just wanted to talk about my plans for upcoming studio vlogs. So I thought it'd be nice to alternate between silent studio vlogs because I still do enjoy doing them, and also chattier ones because I feel like it's been a while since I've talked here in my studio vlogs, but I definitely used to talk a lot in my videos. So I definitely do plan to show up on camera a little bit more and just fill you in on my days, and maybe do some chatty voiceover videos like this as well. I think mostly as well, I want to go back to showing you more snippets of my day. It doesn't have to be big moments, working on a design for the Patreon sticker club or packing orders. I want it to be little things like I could be working on some podcast notes, I could be reading, I could be journaling, all those little in-between moments that I don't always show in my studio vlogs because those are my kind of private personal moments and I do always forget to film them. But I think they're important to show as well because I do make a lot of time for those things during my day. Speaking of Unplanned Podcast, or Unplanned by Jysla, I think is the official name, I don't even know. I have been somewhat neglecting it, like I haven't forgotten about it. I've just been self-conscious. It is a process. It's constantly a struggle, and I find it really interesting how even though I've been posting on YouTube for 3 years now, I think, starting a new project like the podcast is a challenge within itself. And so while studio vlogs are really easy for me to post and I really enjoy talking and I film myself all the time for Patreon, those unplanned podcast episodes are just a whole different thing. And so I find myself needing to overcome the same sorts of things that I thought I had already overcome. So perfectionism for one with writing notes, perfectionism with camera angles and lighting, and just being self-conscious. I thought I had gotten over being camera shy, but I still very much am camera shy in certain situations. I really do want to push myself to create more episodes this year. I'm so grateful for the feedback that I got on the videos that I've posted so far. The topics that I want to talk about are really important to me and align with what I want to spend my energy on. So it is important for me to continue working on that. But I also wanted to share that it is hard for me as well. So I totally understand that some of you really want to start a YouTube channel or maybe want to get back into making videos, but you have that fear just holding you back a little bit because you're self-conscious, it's hard to build up that momentum again, and you're most likely just being held back by your own self-imposed perfectionism. And one of the reasons why I love sharing my struggles or things that I find difficult is because I know I'm not alone. I know for a fact that many of you out there are experiencing the same thing, and I hope that by voicing my struggles, one, it makes you feel less alone, but also helps you realize that these feelings don't really go away. Maybe eventually over time, when I've done enough videos, enough podcast episodes, it gets easier. But I think it's much more comforting to think of that struggle and that perfectionism and that imposter syndrome, all that self-doubt, as something that you need to manage, learn to work through and push through, because waiting around for that day where that feeling just disappears, it's just not going to happen. And I've talked about this in an Unplanned podcast episode, but there rarely, if ever, will be a moment where that feeling is just completely gone and you feel ready. You feel totally prepared. And what I've learned from experience is that I've always had to push through the fear and through the self-doubt in order to get closer to my goals. And I just wanted to share that little tidbit in case you were in the same situation. I don't want you guys to hold yourself back because you're scared, because I think the regret will be so much worse if you didn't take that chance, if you didn't at least try and give it your best shot. So I always try to make my decisions based on what future me would want for me. Would future Jess be glad and be proud that I started when I did and that I pushed through when I did? Or would I regret just waiting around for that perfect moment to not be scared anymore? And so again, I just wanted to share that a lot of the things that I've done to get to where I am today have not been easy. In a sense, I've always had to push through some sort of self-doubt, but I've always been glad that I've done that. I still remember very, very vividly my first few studio vlogs and even the first few podcast episodes I recorded for my Patreon. It was really hard to talk normally. I definitely didn't talk like this, and so it's cliche, but it really does take practice and you really do get better with time. But the tricky part is just committing long enough and pushing through long enough in order to see those results, to see the progress. And so I'm saying all that as well to remind myself when it comes to the Unplanned podcast episodes, because that's what I'm currently struggling with. I really want to be consistent, so I'm really doing what I can to make it easier for me to just show up and record, to take off that pressure of expecting that next one to be great. And I just want to create. I don't want to get swept up in the idea that it has to be perfect in order to be worthy of being published. I just want to have the courage to take that initial step, even though I technically already have taken the initial steps to record the first few videos, but it's an ongoing struggle for me currently. But I also know that my passion and desire for talking about the topics that I want to share is more important to me in the long run than my fear. And that's currently what I'm letting drive me in all of my projects. And because I know it's important to me, I know I'm going to regret not acting on it. So I went on a huge tangent. I didn't mean to talk about that. I didn't plan to talk about that at all. But I'm going to leave it here so you can enjoy the rest of the video. But I just want to say thank you so much for all your support. And I really hope that I can bring you new content this year that you will love and that I love bringing you, and also to help you guys overcome your fears and achieve your goals and get better at ignoring that inner critic. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me ramble.